Here's Greg Naftzger.
Thank you, Gary, and good morning. We have Dave Harrison with us here from the Whiteside County Soil and Water Conservation District. And as always, we've got 8 or 10 questions or topics to go over. But you mentioned something just as we were kind of wandering in here about fire.
Yep.
You know, out west, everything is just burning to a crisp. What's the chances of something like that happening around this area?
Actually, it has happened. Up by Colita, it was probably 10 or 15 years ago. There was and I don't even remember how it got started, if it was a lightning strike or what, but there was a fire that burned for about 2 days up there.
Really?
You got into some cornfields, and it was a fairly high windy day, and it started, and I remember they chased the thing for at least 2 days, and they finally got it out. But yeah, it went through timbers, it hit, the cornfields. If anybody's ever had the experience of getting a corn stalk field on fire, you're not going to forget that, because there's no way to get it out short of disking. You have to disc in a bare soil area and just kind of drive the fire and have to put it out. But you can dump hundreds of gallons of water on those things and they'll still reignite. But it has happened in this area. There's a story back from the 1840s that there was a fire that started somewhere down in Peoria with a strong south wind and ended up in the Rock River up by Rockford.
Gee.
Yeah, and that's, there weren't a whole lot of people on roads back then.
Yeah, a lot more forest.
Yeah, forests. There was prairies that burned. But yeah, it's possible, if, you don't jump on it real quick, it can go for a while. So I don't think we'll see anything like Oregon or California seeing, but still, there's a possibility there. And if you think about it, before last week, there were cities that were starting to institute burn bans in counties.
They did in town here.
Yeah, and and it was justified. Was Fulton too?
Yeah.
Okay, because it was, think about it, it was bone dry and it was hot, and we had high winds, and all of a sudden we had 6 inches of rain that took care of that just for a while. So, but that's a good topic, Greg. I'm glad you brought that up.
Okay. Well, let's get to your list here.
Sure.
And, we'll start off with our number one topic. It's archery deer season.
Yep, it started pretty quick. October 1 in Illinois. I'm not sure about Iowa. I think it opens right around the same time. And in Illinois, I want to remind folks that normally the archery permits are over the counter, at least for the northwestern part of the state. Doe permits or antlerless only permits are unlimited, but you're limited to 2 male or mature bucks per year, and it doesn't matter what season you harvest them in. You can only harvest 2 bucks in Illinois. Like I said, does, as long as there's permits, you can harvest them with a bow. But yeah, it's coming up. Normally it starts half an hour before sunrise until half an hour after sunset. And those are the hours. Don't forget, you can't bait in Illinois. You can't use any kind of corn, mineral blocks, anything like that, because of the chronic wasting disease danger. That just heightens the exposure for the deer. Plus, there's enough deer out there, you really don't need to cheat with bait. That's ridiculous. Don't do it. I still find them occasionally when I'm out doing checks and stuff. I'll find mineral blocks in the timber, and it's not right. You don't have to do that. Hunting's supposed to be an experience. It's not supposed to be something you hurry through just to kill an animal. It's an overall experience, and you're doing something biologically right by harvesting the animal, but you don't need to cheat to do it. Just use your knowledge and your woodsmanship, let's say, and harvest a deer that way. You'd be a lot more satisfied versus just sitting out in front of a mineral block. That's my soapbox for the day. Sorry.
We had a lady in our neighborhood who would stick out a block of salt, and the deer were sure attracted to it. We have a lot of deer in that area.
Anyway. Where you live anyway. In that neighborhood, there's a bunch. The problem with that is you can move those things, and those animals will come back for several years, and they'll actually dig a hole where that mineral block or salt block was, because that stuff leaches into the soil, and it doesn't leave. And those deer have a sensitive enough, factory system that they can smell it. And they'll literally dig a hole to get down to the soil, and they'll lick that soil and even start eating the soil. So they don't leave just because you move the block out. And yeah, in a neighborhood like that, that can be dangerous because, the road in front of your place gets kind of busy.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of houses down there, and those deer come off that bluff, and they're going to get hit eventually. And they ruin a lot of landscape too in the neighborhood too. I know, so that's another potential problem.
Yeah.
So
okay, number 2, duck, goose.
yes, duck season's coming up. We're just finishing up teal season, the early teal season, and the goose season in Illinois. I'm not sure if Iowa's got that early season. I know Iowa's got a split opener for duck season. Illinois just opens, and it's based on the part of the state you're on. The northern part of the state opens October 17th, half an hour before sunrise, and runs through December 15th. And then goose season in LA runs all the way into January. One thing I want to make you aware of if you're out teal hunting right now in Illinois is you're not supposed to shoot until sunrise. Normally with ducks, you can go a half an hour before, but because it's an early season with teal, you have to wait till sunrise. Normally that's around 6:30, 6:25. So be aware of that. There's been a few people that have gotten tickets because they shot early. So, read the regulations. And the other reason they instituted that late opener on that, or late shooting time, is wood ducks. In the morning, a lot of times you'll see birds fly into your decoys, and all you see is a silhouette. And a lot of times people are shooting wood ducks instead of teal. It's not good. So, play by the rules. The shooting time for teal season is sunrise. For regular duck season, you can go a half an hour before because it's a general season at that point. So something to keep in mind.
Well, let's see. Here's our one popular topic we seem to bring up quite a bit. Cover crops.
Yes, I always hammer the cover crops on the radio programs. We still have money available for cost share if anybody's interested. And I've gotten from folks that signed up last year, I'm already starting to get invoices in for cover crops that have been seeded. So if you're interested, we still have money to sign you up. We can go up to $33 an acre on 40 acres. And we still have, a nice pot of money available. So give us a call and we can get you taken care of.
Okay. And now I know that you guys moved. I want you to let folks know again where you're at. And,
yeah, you can't get into the building, but we are on Route 78 south of Morrison, right next to the Conoco gas station. And I don't get paid by the Conoco folks to advertise their gas station, but it's a good landmark. If you know where French Creek Park is and Morrison Institute of Technology, we're just a little bit south of that. It's on the west side of Route 78.
Not too far up.
No, not at all.
Let's say hummingbirds is our next topic.
Yeah, if you have some hummingbird feeders out right now, you're probably noticing a lot of activity. We've got, it's weird, we got 2 feeders on our porch, and we can look right out the kitchen window, and there's always a dominant female that hangs out on our little clothesline we've got out back there, and she'll let the males feed. But if there's another female that comes in, it looks like a jet plane zipping off that clothesline. She knocks them out of the air.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen feathers fly off them. It's amazing how mean she is.
Huh.
But she stakes a claim every year, and I would imagine, they're not a very long-lived bird. They're usually 1.5 years, maybe 2.5 years at the very most. So I think what's happening, the original female came nested, and now these are the females that came out of her hatchings. But it's kind of funny. We keep clothespins on that clothesline, and the ones that are upright, they will land or decoy into those clothespins. It's the weirdest things. Well, we'll remove the clothespins, and she'll sit off on a tree. But if we leave the clothespins on there, then she'll come into the line and sit on that line.
Huh.
So, but yeah, they're getting ready to leave. There's so much activity right now because, they're starting to fatten up and getting ready because they're going to go all the way to Texas, and some will even go into Mexico. And they follow wherever there's flowers. And they'll go as far south as, the flowerings are going on. But yeah, hummingbirds, if you're interested in them, make sure your feeders are full right now. And I never recommend putting dye into the actual nectar that they're drinking. I like to use just sugar water. It seems to do best for them as far as their digestive system. Sometimes the dye can really mess up their digestion. So I'd leave any dye out. The feeder itself, part of it is red, and that's important. They're attracted to that.
Attracted,
Yep. Yeah, you bet.
Number 5, Wildlife Habitat Fund.
I want to give some money away. We have a local group gave us another $9,000 on top of what we had before for wildlife habitat in northwestern Illinois. Primarily for Whiteside County, but also Henry County. And we could probably do a little bit of work in Rock Island too. But this is completely separate from any federal or state programs. The Soil and Water District's administering it. Roughly 75% cost share, and go up to $2,500 per job or project. Tree plantings, native grass plantings, shrub plantings, wetland development, those are all eligible. Basically, you come in or call, don't come in, and let me know what you got in mind. I'll visit with you out in the field. We'll come up with a plan, and then you'll start instituting the plan. When you get it done, turn the bills in, we write you a check. It's a very simple process. There's no federal regulations except maybe on the wetlands where we might have to get a permit or something like that, but it's not a real lengthy sign-up process or anything like that. So
now this is mainly in rural areas or in
we
town?
could look at town too. If there's a good urban project like a rain garden, or somebody wants to put it in a pollinator planting in the backyard, I'd certainly look at that too. Yeah, the shrubs. If somebody wants to put native shrubs, a nice little grove in the backyard, wonderful. I'd be glad to help them out.
And why don't you give us that number,
Sure.
please?
815-772-2124, extension 3.
Okay, 2124, extension 3.
Yep, and that'll get us.
I'll write that down if anybody calls.
Sure.
Okay, and let's go on to the next one. Fall tillage.
Yeah. The rain was good and bad. It was setting up to be a very dry fall, and that's bad. One, you don't get your soil moisture replenished. The other bad thing about it is it gives folks a chance to till, and one of the things we're seeing is there's been a lot more fall tillage, at least on the Illinois side, and that's not good. We have heavy rains in the spring. That ground's been sitting drying out all winter, and it just erodes and fills in the wetlands and the backwaters on the Mississippi. And if you can avoid doing any fall tillage, I would really hope you would. For the farmers on that listen in, they're probably sick of me saying that, but lay off the fall tillage. Give it a break, let that ground kind of settle down and do its own thing during the winter, and then come in and do the spring tillage. And I know a lot of guys are farming huge acreages and it's more convenient, but from a societal point of view, when people go past the field and see it, especially a sloping field, and see it just completely brown and worked into powder, it's not good for agriculture in general. It gives everybody a bad name, plus eventually you have regulations because of that too, and and there's talk about doing that again. So
Okay, well, hey, we're
I know we're running out of time here.
Yeah, add those to the list for next time.
You bet.
But again, we've been talking with Dave Harrison. He's from the Whiteside County Soil and Water Conservation District. And if you have any questions, give him a call. Again, let me make sure I got that number, 815-772-2124, extension 3.
That's correct.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Dave. And
Thank you.
We'll talk to you next month.
You bet. See ya.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Right now, we are looking at sunshine, a temperature in the low 60s. Temperatures will climb to the low 80s today.
You're listening to AM 1340 KROS.